All right, and thanks for joining us, everybody. We're live here at the KFVS Digital News Desk. We've got Mary Beth Niederkorn with us here. She is director of the Cape Girardeau County Archives. How you doing today, Mary Beth?
Very well, Clayton. Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. Glad to be looking at things going on with the archives today, and all the recent interests things going on in that department. And you mentioned before we started today a little bit about a traveling genealogist season, and I suppose that's kind of like it's with the seasons the different species traveling. So the genealogists are out too. And can you tell us more about that?
As migratory birds flock from one place to another, so too do genealogists.
Exactly. So there will be probably more interest in looking into the documents and resources you all have this time of year, correct?
Absolutely. So between our primary resources here at the county between our primary resources here at the County Archives Center and the county's Genealogical Society Library, genealogists really have a lot of information to pull from. And a lot of times we can find information that people didn't necessarily have access to. Just yesterday, we had a lady from Texas who was interested in an ancestor of hers who had fought in the Revolutionary War, who is buried right here in Jackson City Cemetery. And we were able to find his probate file for her, which had a will and an inventory. So it listed all of his heirs and all of the items that were in his estate at the time he passed away. And we also had quite a bit of information on his military service. So that was just invaluable to her, and she was really excited to receive that.
All right. Excellent stuff. Always interesting to see just the connections that can be made in genealogy and where people get to make them in places like the archives. What else is going on in the archives? It's been a little bit since we've chatted. What's new, and what are you all working on?
Well, another thing that's really coming up quite a bit this time of year is we had students from CMO's Historic Preservation 200, HP 200 class, who are wrapping up their property history projects. So students will come and do a history of a building, usually in Cape, but I'm trying to expand their horizon into Jackson as well. And they will talk about who occupied a building, what some of the building's uses were, who lived in the buildings. And so we can get a lot of information and kind of put together a biographical sketch of the people and of the building. And the students really enjoy that project because it gives them a chance to see the entire county's history through a very small fragment of what the county has to offer. So that's really, really exciting. But we just wrapped up with that with students. And we've had several homeowners or people who are interested in purchasing property who've contacted us lately to help them get some of the history of the property that they're looking at. And usually we can at least get a little bit. We can get a rough idea of when the property was sold and to whom. And the Recorder of Deeds office, if you have the book and page number, which we can also usually help find, they can get you a copy of the actual deed. So we can help determine if a piece of property has been in a family for a century, for instance, and that would qualify a farm, as long as it's been continually held by the same family, for Missouri's Century Farm Program through the University of Missouri's Extension Office. And we've seen several people who are looking for more information along those lines too. So that's been really exciting. And we're also partnering with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints over in Cape on a project to upload information on cemeteries in Cape Girardeau County to billiongraves.com. And that's really exciting for us because we have a lot of information on the cemeteries in Cape Girardeau County, but it's all in binders here at the archive, so it's less accessible to the general public. So we're really excited at the opportunity to get more information about Cape Girardeau County's cemeteries, of which there are almost 300, up onto the internet so that people can find out more and then potentially contact us for more information as they're doing their family research.
Sure, sure. And question on the fly here, and if this is kind of a spotty question, that's all right, and I understand. But as far as the the places that may not be as well documented or maybe not as well digitized, how do the different graveyards, cemeteries, and so forth kind of stack up in all of that? How what's kind of the difference between what's been digitized and what's been documented elsewhere as far as our Heartland region is concerned?
So as I was saying, the cemeteries in Cape Girardeau County, there is no central authority who deals with all of the cemeteries. Each individual cemetery is handled by either a cemetery association, or it's supposed to be up to the descendants of the people buried there. But Cape Girardeau and Jackson municipalities each handle the cemeteries that are in the city limits, but all the rest of the cemeteries, it's kind of up to individual entities to handle. And so there are a lot of challenges involved with that. There's a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep, a lot of protection against vandalism, which goes into it. And as I said, there are between 250 and 300 of these small cemeteries. They range from single burials in people's yards and a gravesite for Princess Otaki, for instance, out at Trail of Tears State Park, all the way up to hundreds or thousands of burials out in county burial places. And so it fell to staff and volunteers here at the Archive Center about 10 years ago. They put together a crew that went out and were documenting tombstones, headstones, and that project, we have that information here. They didn't finish all the cemeteries. We do have a volunteer right now who's working on trying to update a little bit of that, but she's one person. So hopefully this project will give us a little bit better comprehensive information. There is a website called findagrave.com, which is all volunteer run. It's a wonderful resource, but again, it's all volunteer run, so it's necessarily going to have some gaps. And we're hoping that this project with the LDS Church is going to fill in some of those gaps.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've gotten lost trying to find a grave or two, and so it's kind of one of those. Whenever the more resources, the better. So that's certainly true of in this case. Are there anything else that you wanted to mention today? Anything else of to note before we wrap up today?
Well, as always, I love to put in a plug that if you want to come into the Cape Girardeau County Archives Center, we are here Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. We do give tours. We have a website at capecounty.us, and you can reach us by phone at 573-204-2332. Or you can email us at archive@capecounty.us. And I'm Mary Beth Niederkorn, I'm the director, and Tiffany Fleming is our archives assistant.
All right, wonderful stuff. Mary Beth, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Clayton. I appreciate it.
All right, wonderful stuff. Mary Beth Niederkorn at the Cape County Archives Center. Thank you all for tuning in as well. We appreciate your time being here with us. We're going to turn it back over to Local News Live. Stick around, more just around the corner.